Welcome to the Vol Bros. My name is Evan. This is my brother Boomer Gator. I like that one. Welcome to the Vol Bros presented by the UTEP Club. We are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. Love the UTEP Club. Always very thankful for them. I was there earlier today. Played 18 holes. It was the first time our whole family, me and my son, my daughter, and my wife were all there together. It was a lot of fun. Good memories made for sure. So we appreciate the Little Walk Club. We love their partnership. And man, oh man, is it a good day to be? Yesterday was a good day to be a Tennessee Vol. It seemed like everything was going Tennessee's way yesterday. Bama loses, which was shocking to me actually. Florida beats Ole Miss. Indiana got beat pretty good by Ohio State. I mean, it was a good day. A&M lost, which doesn't directly really impact Tennessee, but kind of does tangentially if Texas A&M beats Texas. Just a really good day for Tennessee. We already got a ton of people in the comments. Welcome to all of you. We're glad you're with us. Let's see here. I'm going to go through these real quick, and then we're going to get to Rustin's takeaways from the game. Kevin said, "Woohoo, let's go Vols!" Absolutely. Mino Aki said, "Good Vol evening." Absolutely. Mississippi Vol said, "Hey, what's up, fellas? Much better mood than this time last week." Amen. Hope we can take care of business Saturday. Amen. He said, "Kind of concerned about this one." Amen. I loved Reed Carringer's tweet earlier today. He said, "All Tennessee has to do is beat Vanderbilt. What could go wrong?" And I can guarantee you, I know what he was hearkening back to. If everyone recalls, in 2016, all Tennessee had to do was beat Vanderbilt to go to the SEC championship game. And we haven't been to one since 2007, so I'll put it that way. That's all I got to say there. Let's see. Kevin said, "Remember this turkey season to be kind to your Bama and Ole Miss friends." Let's see. Rhonda's welcome, Rhonda. Good to have you. Let's see here. John said, "Win and then rest and recoup for the playoffs." Amen, brother. Welcome, John. Glad you're with us. Let's see here. SEC football said Big Vol Daddy passed away. So Rustin let me know about that last night, actually. Our condolences to his family and friends. Big Vol Daddy was legitimately the OG Tennessee YouTuber. I mean, like I've said this multiple times before, and I'll probably say it many times again. He essentially was a visionary in the YouTube space, because all the way back in really YouTube's infancy, almost in 2010, he started a YouTube channel surrounded, Vol athletics, and just a fantastic idea, obviously, and he will certainly be missed. And so we do send our condolences to his entire family and friends. Let's see here. Bobby said, "Hoist anchor, Vandy's on the clock. Go Big Orange." VFL in Texas, welcome, buddy. Mississippi Vol said, "Don't get me wrong, I think we'll win, but Diego's scrambling ability is something to keep an eye on." Well, there's a lot to keep an eye on for that one. Let's see. Sean, welcome, buddy. Good to have you with us. Tony said, "Got a lot of help yesterday. Army didn't help much."
I was really surprised by that one. They've played lights out all year, and they just completely no-showed. It was really surprising. I mean, everything they did was uncharacteristic of the entire way they've played all year, including they got hyper conservative, which was really weird. They've had success not being conservative, and they kind of went in a shell and just kind of did what triple option teams do, and that hasn't been who they've been all year. It was a weird game.
Monica, welcome. Glad you're with us. Oreo Puppy Dog said, "The only thing I didn't like was another slow start by Vols yesterday." Greg said, "Must have been a different Army team than what we've seen all year."
Yep.
Let's see. Mino Aki said she misses a touchdown on the first drive. It was almost, in the past, that was almost a given. Jonathan, welcome, buddy. He said, "Hello, everyone. What a great day yesterday was." Absolutely. Rhonda said, "Hated I couldn't be there Thursday, but you guys must have sent really good Go Big Orange vibes." Tony said Nico missed Squirrel and Brute for easy touchdowns in the first quarter. Got to start hitting those against good teams. And Sean is exactly correct. Kansas, the Grim Reaper of the Big 12. You're exactly. Kansas has single-handedly altered the Big 12 championship game. So they've had quite a bit to say about that conference in the past 2 weeks.
I saw today that's the first time in the history of college football that a team with a losing record has won 3 straight games against top 25 opponents.
Oh, wow. Austin, welcome, buddy. Good to have you with us. Rustin, give us your takeaways from what you saw out of the Vols yesterday.
It was good to see Nico wake up. First quarter, he just looked completely, almost like he was kind of sleepwalking. He was a step slow. The ball he threw behind Squirrel should have been a walk-in touchdown, and he threw it about 5 yards behind him on the very first drive. It was just it was a weird start, but it was good to see him settle in, figure things out, start playing well. We've said it all year. Boo Carter is a difference maker with the ball in his hands, and he kind of changed the whole tone of the game. Every time he touched the ball, something electric happened, and then immediately after there was a touchdown. So he set a tone.
He's so elusive.
Yeah, I thought the defensive backs played well. It was good to see both Andre Turrentine and Will Brooks play better than they did last week. I also like to see a lot more Jacoby Thomas. I'm not real sure what happened last week, why he didn't really play at all. That guy needs to be on the field.
Amen. I think it was late in the second quarter. He came on a safety blitz. He was in the backfield. He almost made it there in time to take the handoff from the quarterback. Like, it was incredible. My main takeaway from yesterday, or did you have any more?
Nope.
My main takeaway was 2 things. First of all, a 60-minute football game is a long time, and things can change drastically in a very short amount of time. The first quarter was embarrassing. It was horrible. We got 2 first downs in the whole first quarter?
Yeah.
And it was almost like Tennessee's players were thinking, well, they're a 2-8 team. They know that they're just supposed to come out here and roll over and lay down. And then it was almost like, oh, wait, they're not going to do that. We actually have to play. And what we saw in the second, third, and fourth quarter should have been what we saw all 4 quarters. But thankfully, we did see it in the last 3 quarters. I will say that my prediction Thursday night was 56-6, and that was pretty close, 56-0. So it was even better than what I thought it'd be. But I did say Tuesday or Thursday night that I did not think that Tennessee would allow them into the end zone, and that didn't happen. I thought they'd get maybe 2 field goals, something like that, but that didn't happen either. So kudos to Tennessee. It's good to see Peyton Lewis get some really good carries there. Got a Cam Seldon touchdown for the first time in his Tennessee career, I believe, and definitely this year. And Khalifa Keith got some runs as well. Navy Schuler got in the game, which was I was thrilled about.
Navy Schuler had a better passing day than Gaston Moore.
It was anytime you can get both senior quarterbacks who are out of eligibility after this year. But anytime you can get both of them snaps in senior day, that's a good senior day. And so I was thrilled for them that they both got on the field. Really, I'm sure a really neat moment for Heath Schuler, seeing Navy come in the game last time in Neyland, wearing Heath's old number. That's a special thing. And so really thrilled for them that they got to experience that. And I'm glad that the Vols did the style points matter? Well, when you look at the AP poll, yeah, they mattered. So it's going to be interesting to see what the College Football Playoff Committee does on Tuesday. But boy, the AP liked them in that style of style points. Style points matter. second only to the number of losses. I'm convinced of that even more every day, especially after the head of the playoff committee essentially said that last week. So, because I go back to what he said about Alabama. He said they won in dominant fashion. So style points mattered more than head to head, because he was asked why Alabama was ranked ahead of Tennessee. He said they won in dominant fashion the last couple of weeks after they lost to Tennessee. And so apparently that matters more than head to head. And now Tennessee has some style points and Bama lost. So that's even better. Some of the other comments coming in here. Oriole Puppy Dog said tons of open receivers. JL said, what's up, fellas? Just got to take care of business and we're in. Thank you, Florida and Oklahoma. Absolutely. Yes. Jonathan. Yes. Jonathan said, did everyone else see the dude in the stands moving his dentures around? Yeah. If that fella's watching our show tonight, we're glad you're with us. You never know when a camera's on you, buddy. You never know. Let's see. JL said they tried to get the crowd more involved during the first quarter, but the people weren't having it. Well, it's hard to cheer when you're watching your team lay an egg on the field during that first quarter. Let's see. Tony said someone needs to tell Caleb Herring not to jump off sides. Rodney Gardner needs to chew their tail off for that. Getting tired of seeing it. It's pretty much at least once a game now, if not more. Let's see. Minalagi said the first quarter was a hoot. We went from we all fall down to an interception with Omar Norman Lott patting the quarterback on the shoulder. Priceless. Yeah, Kevin makes a good point here. He said, I was otherwise occupied all day yesterday. Kevin had kind of a big day yesterday. He was the father of the bride yesterday. Congratulations, Kevin. And please pass your congratulations on to your family for me. I'd really appreciate that. Sweet, sweet family. He said, didn't find out about any games until about 8 o'clock last night. Checking X last night, I didn't understand why there was so much frustration early. Yeah, it was not pretty early, for sure. Ryan, welcome, buddy. Welcome, Ryan. I was thinking about you earlier. We got to get together and play golf, and I think I got a game plan for us. So Ryan said, Boo needs to play some offense. So electric. Give me Eric Berry vibes or even Evan Berry vibes when he touches the ball. Absolutely. Austin said, how am I going to pay off this reverse mortgage? This is what you were laughing about a minute ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
He said, how am I going to pay off this reverse mortgage I took out for the Army money line that Rustin guaranteed us?
Like I said, I don't know what in the world happened. I don't know who that team was or what they did with the Army team that's been playing all year, but it was a bizarre day.
Oreo Puppy Dog said, I believe Boo could play both ways. I love watching him with the ball. Hey, he's electric. I mean, absolutely. Rustin and I, we've said it for months. I mean, like at least 6 months. For more than that, since January when he got on campus.
Yeah.
We've been saying, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if you see him returning punts this year, because he is electric with the ball in his hands on the punt return. Austin said, I felt good about it too, that Army pick. Let's see. Andrew, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, if we don't match Vandy's intensity, could be trouble Saturday. 100%. Look what we did yesterday, right? Came out flat thinking it was, it was a cakewalk. It wasn't. Andrew said this is essentially our first playoff game this weekend. 1,000% yes. 1,000% yes. This is the first round of the playoffs for us this weekend. If we lose to Vandy in our last appearance before the playoff, we're not getting in, because the whole committee will hold that against us, even though Bama did the same thing. The whole committee will hold it against us, and we will not be in the playoff, because recency bias is a real thing. So we can't lose. I mean, this is our first playoff game. Let's see here. Alpha Mano 6 said, what's up with David Sanders? We need him, but if we don't get him, so here's the thing. When teams are tossing around multiple millions of dollars to you and stuff, I mean, it's kind of hard to ignore that, And so what ends up happening with him, I don't know. But I can tell you, wherever there's a whole lot of money, that's probably where he's going to be. And he's got two good options in Ohio State and Tennessee because he's going to get a bunch of money either place he goes. No doubt about it. Let's see. Mr. Jones said, we need to put Boo Carter on offense like Colorado uses Henry. I think he means Travis Hunter. He's elusive and electric anytime he touches the ball. Yeah, I totally agree. He is dynamic, man. Yeah. He makes the first person miss every single time he touches the ball. Every time. He sets up the initial gunner coming at him and makes him miss every time. Let's see. JL said Boo might house call one before the season is over. Absolutely. I mean, he's been close 3 times already. He was close twice yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. Oh, that's cool. So folks can give him congratulations to Kevin and his family. That's awesome. SC Football said, can we hold on to David Sanders? Money, money, money. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Money. Let's see. Darth said, hey, Darth, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, the one Saturday I decided not to, please never watch football again if that's the case, because this Saturday was fantastic for Tennessee fans. He said this is the one Saturday he didn't watch football. Well, this Saturday could not have gone better for Tennessee fans. So, Darth, I'm going to ask you on behalf of All Nation to please take one for the team here and to never watch football ever again. I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
You're officially an NFL-only guy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Rhonda said, congratulations, Kevin. Absolutely. Mr. Jones said Penn State should drop because they didn't look very convincing versus you are exactly correct. Penn State is the epitome of survive and advance this year. They barely survived against a mediocre USC team earlier this year. They barely survived last night against Minnesota. What was it, 26-25, the final score?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Jones, you're exactly right. 100%. Darth said, y'all chill. There's enough spots for everyone with less than 2 losses now. Sadly, I don't think so, buddy. I think that actually in the AP poll, I'm going to show it to you in a little bit. There's now going to be 2 ACC teams in the playoff. There was just going to be 1. Now there's going to be 2. And probably 1 less SEC team. So there's probably going to end up being 4 Big 10, 1 Big 12, that's 5, 2 ACC, that's 7, 3 SEC, that's 10, and then the Big 12 and the Power 5 or Group of 6, which would be Boise State probably. So the SEC cannibalized itself this weekend, and Tennessee was a beneficiary of that, so we're cool with it. We are cool with it. Rhonda said, this was a weird weekend. My Titans won too. I like that. Let's see.
The NFL this afternoon was crazy town. Like, there were some of the most bizarre finishes I've ever seen in football, and there was 3 or 4 of them in the same day.
Kevin said, I feel like Boo needs another year of maturity, and seeing the game at the college level, he could be an on-field leader. Oh, yeah, for sure. No doubt.
He's got to learn the defense before we start worried about him getting on offense. Multiple times Saturday, people were having to show him where to be on the field. This is game 11. He should know by now. Yeah.
Oreo Puppy Dog said, Vanny and Pavia has me worried. Me too, bud. I believe that's our batter Vols syndrome flaring up, and understandably so, because 2016, all we had to do was beat Vanny to go SEC championship. We didn't do it. SEC football said Boo Carter went to school. He went to school. Boo Carter, that's cool. Yep, right here from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then senior year played at Bradley Central High School. Mr. Carter or Mr. Jones said Boo Carter Heisman 2025, a la Charles Woodson, I assume. That'd be cool. Billy, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, hello, everyone. We need full speed ahead this Saturday. I hope Josh Heupel knows this. Absolutely. And let's be honest, Style points always matter, always. Well, they matter this weekend too, because it is not out of the realm of possibility that Tennessee could now host a first round game based on what happened this past Saturday. It is certainly possible. And so we need that. We need those style points this weekend too. Whoa, Kevin, thank you, buddy. We appreciate that very much. He said, I enjoy this community. Football, basketball, and baseball. What are you guys taking over next?
Softball.
Thank you so much, Kevin. You are very kind, buddy. Thank you so much. Alpha Man 06 said, if Nico hits at least 6 of those deep balls, he could have had the Rookie of the Year SEC. Oh, yeah, man. I 100% agree. Because there's been plenty more than that we hadn't hit, right? This is my favorite comment now. Mina, like he said, Boo has more moves than a mama chipmunk. Shiftier than a squirrel, those mama chipmunks. Let's see. Mr. Jones said, Boo Carter is the only player that can never get booed at home or away. They're just cheering for you. That's a good point. That's a great point. Oh, Austin, absolutely, buddy. He said, I want Penn State first round. I don't care where it's at. Amen.
Yep.
Give us that matchup for sure. Oreo Puppy Dog said Penn State in the playoffs will look like TCU versus Georgia. Yep. Audrey, welcome, Audrey. Good to have you. The 2 ACC teams, she said Clemson and Miami. Don't be surprised if it's Clemson and the winner of Miami SMU. I'm going to show you, based on the AP poll today, I'm going to show you why that is extremely likely here in just a little bit at the end of our show. JL said LSU beat Vandy. We should be able to handle them. We should. I agree. Time will tell. I would like to add something. I didn't post this. I thought about it. It would have been totally bragging, and I shouldn't brag, I guess. But if everyone recalls, back in July, Rustin and I did our SEC preview show where we previewed the schedule for every team and predicted it. And I predicted on that show in July that Oklahoma would beat Alabama. Now, the only reason I didn't post that after they beat them was because if you had asked me Saturday morning, I'd been like, no, Oklahoma's going to get beaten down like bad, so bad. I would have predicted a blowout by Alabama. So since I changed my mind totally on it, I didn't post it. But I did predict that upset all the way back in July. It's on the interwebs. You can find it for sure. Like you said, we got booze and brews. That's right. So cool. Our uncle, hey, Uncle Dave, he said, Darth, you're still allowed to listen on the radio. Bob Kessling would appreciate it. Yeah, we appreciate that, Darth. Let's see.
Since we're talking about predictions for all of our Oklahoma friends, going back to those same predictions at the beginning of the year, I said 7-5, and everybody made fun of me. They're currently sitting at 6-5. So if they upset Texas on Saturday, they'll be 7-5. If they don't, they'll be 6-6. So they'll even be worse than I said.
Who they got? It's not Texas. Who do they have Saturday? Because Texas has A&M.
Or not Texas.
I can't remember who they play. Is it Missouri?
LSU.
No, Missouri has Arkansas.
It's LSU.
Oh, they could win that for sure.
So they're either going to be 7-5 or they're going to be 6-6.
Let's see. Mr. Jones that's a great question. He said, how does any team in the Big Ten even claim a tough strength of schedule when they play each other? Amen, brother. Amen. Totally agree. You talk about a top heavy league. There's like 3 teams, or maybe 4 if you include Penn State, which I don't. So there's 3 teams that are real good. And then after that, it's way down. JL said, I hope we have some more things happen in front of us. I want a playoff game in Neyland. Absolutely, man. And we're going to look at the path to make that happen here in just a little bit, because it is super, super possible. Especially, after what happened yesterday, man, anything can happen. Mr. Jones said Boo could be a 2-way player next year, plus returns. Let's see. Austin said, his battered Vols syndrome. His doctor prescribed him some penicillin off label for it. Let's see. Kevin said, to be fair, it's not just Nico's misses, although he has several receivers also just drop balls that were in their hands. That's true as well. My feeling is that we both need both sides of the passing game to step up. Absolutely. Rebel G, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, go Vols. What a great weekend to be a Tennessee fan. Absolutely. Tennessee Junior said, really, welcome, buddy. He said, really want more chaos. Playoff game in Neyland would be epic. Absolutely, it would be. And it is very possible. Like, it is legit possible it could happen. Let's see. Mr. Jones said Lane Kiffin and Olay missed the playoffs. Let's see. SEC football said, I've seen some projections that have us going to Penn State in the first round. I'll take that. Yeah, I'd take that. Eric, welcome, buddy. He said, what's up, all bros? Can't believe it. Rustin Army got beat by Notre Dame. Can you believe it? Honestly.
I was shocked at how they just played in general. Like we were talking about before, probably you joined. That's not the team I've watched all year. I don't know what in the world happened. They just laid an egg. Everything they did was completely uncharacteristic with how they've played literally the entire season.
Mr. Jones said the Vols basketball team defense might give the football team's defense a run for their money. Absolutely. Tony. Tony said and one of Boo punt returns. Bob Kessling said Brew McCoy with a great return. I didn't know that. I didn't know he'd done that. Yeah, that's not good. Robert said, hey, bros, just hope we take care of Andy. Amen, brother. Thanks for joining us, Robert. Good to have you. Doug, welcome, Doug. So Doug's a good friend of mine. He's a Georgia fan, and he said, I feel like I should be excited that Georgia's in the SEC championship game, but I am not. I totally understand that, Doug. Georgia they have clinched a spot in the SEC championship game now. They will play the winner of Texas and Texas A&M. That is how it's going to break down, with Ole Miss and Georgia both losing. And you say, well, what if, A&M beats Texas? Well, then their tiebreaker scenario, head-to-head, followed by the opponent's winning percentage, would still put Georgia and the winner of Texas and Texas A&M in the championship game. So that's who it's going to be. That's why that Texas A&M game is so important. Is A&M still have a chance at the playoff? Well, they 100% do, because if they win the next two, if they beat Texas and then Georgia, they're in. Now, is that a tall task? 1,000% yes. And so do I think they're going to knock off both teams in back-to-back games? I don't. I really don't. Could they beat Texas in Kyle Field at a night game? They 100% could. But I don't think they're going to beat Texas and Georgia. That would be an interesting scenario if A&M did beat both of them. A&M is guaranteed a spot in the playoff then. I don't think that would knock Tennessee out of it, but that would be a situation where Tennessee would no longer host a game because everybody else would fall, that kind of thing. So if A&M does end up winning the SEC championship, Tennessee would still be in the playoff, assuming they beat Vandy, but they would no longer be hosting a game. And they're not hosting a game right now, but based on what could happen this upcoming weekend, it's possible, especially on conference championship weekend. Let's see here. Kevin said a playoff game in Neyland would break the 137 decibel record. You're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jones said they suffocated Baylor. They sure did. He's talking about the basketball team. Fort Rep 1 said it was nice seeing Selden truck that dude over and get his first touchdown. Absolutely. Any update on Bishop? I mean, he ain't coming back this season.
The fact that they don't even talk about him anymore. I mean, if you had thoughts that somebody was going to get back at some point, you would, make comments about, their progress is coming along, that kind of stuff. They don't even bring him up.
Austin asked if we're going to talk about basketball. JL said Lanier was balling that first half. Yeah, he was. If we have time at the end, we certainly will. But I do have to kind of call it at about 10 o'clock tonight. Let's see. Oh, Oreo Puppy Dog says, so if Georgia loses the SEC championship, will it knock them out?
We're going to find out
Maybe.
how honest. Yeah, we're going to find out how honest that committee is, because they've been telling people that the conference championships aren't going to hurt anyone, because they're playing an extra game that nobody else is playing. We'll see how true that is.
Yeah.
You know, if some key teams lose and get bumped, we'll know how they really felt about those games.
Eric said, I mean, it's crazy. A&M still has a shot at the SEC championship with 3 overall losses. Yeah. If somebody had told me before the season that it's possible 3-loss team would be winning the SEC championship, I'd have been like, there's no way. There's no way. But there is a way, and it happened. Rhonda said, chaos can happen except for us winning. That has to happen. I agree. Yes, absolutely. Rebel Juice said he's coming back to Tennessee for Thanksgiving. I hope you have a safe trip. Mina Laggy said Baylor's basketball team didn't know what hit them. It was a beautiful sight.
They look shell-shocked.
They played well in the second half, though. Uncle Dave said, I think anytime Boo has a big play or breaks a punt return in the end zone, the Fall fans need to yell Orlando just to eliminate any confusion. You're going to have to explain that to me. I'm trying to figure it out, Uncle Dave.
I think that's an Orlando Carter reference.
Oh, okay. I got you. That's what I was wondering. Is Orlando his middle name? No. Okay, now I'm confused. My uncle, he got me there. Mississippi Vols said the ladies are back in action Tuesday night too. Yep, the ladies play Tuesday night. Men play Wednesday afternoon. Coach Kim celebrated her 36th birthday today as well. Absolutely. Jonathan said, what happened to Bishop? A lower body injury, I believe. So you can take that for whatever it means, because Dante Thornton Jr. had an upper body injury 2 games ago while he was limping. So they're very free with the upper and lower body distinctions there. So who knows? I mean, I don't know if anybody knows the actual truth, but who knows? Audrey said she does not believe the committee. Rhonda said never believe that committee. Kevin Riggs said Sankey might lose his mind if losing the championship cost Georgia a trip. Yeah, absolutely. Happened last year, didn't it? Oh, Audrey, let me know Orlando is Boo's first name. There we go. So my Uncle Dave is right on the money. That's what they need to say. Green Wave, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. Kevin said lower body injury. He was holding his head and stumbling then. Yeah, exactly. That's the Tennessee Athletic Department method of injury distinction. To the 535 people watching right now, we sure do appreciate you across all 3 platforms. A ton of people on X, ton of people on YouTube, some folks on Facebook too holding it down. We appreciate you. Rustin, do you want to do play or player first?
I'll do either. Whatever you want.
Let's do player, because I got a special one for. Well, it's kind of the same. I just gave it away. So let's do player first.
I'll take Boo Carter. Led the team in tackles, had a tackle for loss, was electric in the return game. Drove me crazy a little bit because they kept having to tell him where to line up. But again, it's game 11. We should know that by now. But you can't fault his execution and his effort. Dude just gets after it.
I'm going to give him a player of the game to Brew McCoy. 2 touchdowns on senior day. Awesome, baby. Awesome. I was so happy for him. He was my player of the game. Sean said Brew McCoy finally getting in the end zone. Happy for him. I mean, like he said, James Pierce Jr. was her player of the game. That's a great one. Sanders said, did y'all see South Carolina women's basketball lose tonight to UCLA? I did not see that.
Yep. 43-game win streak is over. And they didn't just lose. They got their brains beat in. At one point, they were down by 25. They ended up losing by 15. It was never close.
Audrey said Brew was her player of the game. Green Wave said, man, that was stumbling my words there. Also said Brew. Oriole Puppy Dog said Boo Carter. Mr. Jones said Jordan Ross Heisman pose punter of the year. Jackson Ross. That was hilarious when he was like falling over when he got ran into. The second flop, like he fell down and then stood up and fell over again. And I was like, come on, dude. Mississippi Vols said the Cookie Monster, who was Brew McCoy, because everybody got cookies after he scored. Eric said James Pierce Jr. Totally, that's a great choice. Rondis also said Brew. Greenwave said Rustin, how do you stay on top of all these sports?
Lack of life, no. Mostly Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
I follow the right people on Twitter.
Sanders said her player of the game is Boo. Totally agree. That's a good choice. A lot of Robert said Boo Carter. So Boo Carter and Brew McCoy getting the lion's share of the votes there. James Pierce Jr. got several as well. So Rustin, what was your play of the game? Y'all let us know in the comments too. What was your play of the game? Mr. Jones said his player of the game was Florida, Auburn, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I agree. I love the 2-play sequence where they found Ethan Davis for about I don't know, whatever it was, 40, 50-yard gain. And then on the very next play, they ran split zone with a boot action and got him a touchdown. You know, he took it all the way down to the 1-yard line and got tackled. So they made a point to run a set play on the next one to get him the touchdown. I loved that call by Josh Heupel, rewarding that guy for getting him to the goal line.
Our investigative journalist, I'm sorry, Audrey's just sent us a really cool thing on Twitter I'm going to share. So I totally missed your play of the game. What was it?
It was Josh Heupel's play calling I believe it was in the second quarter. Yeah. When Ethan Davis caught about a 40 or 50-yard pass, took it down to the 1 and got tackled on the 1. And on the very next play, Josh Heupel intentionally called what's called a split zone boot. He ran split zone. Nico kept it, booted out, but the only guy that was an option was Ethan Davis. It was a set call to get Ethan Davis the touchdown because he got tackled on the 1.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome that he gave him the play call on the next one too.
Yeah.
My play of the game was Brew's first touchdown. Just so happy for him. It was really cool seeing his teammates respond as well. They were just ecstatic for him. That was awesome. Just really, really happy for him that he was able to get his first touchdown of the season. So that was my play of the game. Let's see here. Mina, like you said, Dylan Sampson was her player of the game. SC Football said, is there any way Keenan Peely could get an extra year eligibility? I don't think so, but I mean, Cam Rising is on his like 14th year of eligibility now.
You never know.
I guess maybe. Let's see. Rebel G said, where do y'all think Tennessee will be when the official rankings come out? 5th or 6th seems right. Definitely better than Notre Dame or Penn State. I agree they're better than those teams, but they won't be ranked higher than them. I was actually kind of surprised to see how high we were ranked in the AP poll. But we'll show you that here in a minute. Welcome, buddy. He said, need more Mike Matthews. Amen. Throw him the ball. Throw him the ball, man. Throw him the ball. Kid's a player. Tried to throw it to Braylon Staley twice at the end of the game, but he dropped both of them. Greg said the ref throwing the late flag on Bama to bring the touchdown back was his play of the game. Eric said my play of the game was even James Pierce missed the quarterback and then came from behind and grabbed the quarterback, looked around to make sure the ball wasn't thrown, and then took the quarterback down. Mr. Jones said Jackson Ross punt to the 1-yard line. Yeah, that's a good one. Oriole Puppy Dog agree. Definitely more Mike Matthews. Will, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. Audrey said that was a great catch, too. It sure was. Will said, told y'all Ohio State would handle Indiana. You called it, buddy. You called it. Alpha Man said, when can we get players from transfer portal? And I feel we have 3 good tackles that are ready. Do you agree? So the portal, I don't think we'll see anybody from the portal until mid-December at the earliest. But honestly, I don't know. Will they take players before the season's over, like publicly? Listen, I'm sure they probably already have some folks in line, but that's not public, and I don't think it will be public until they're finished playing personally. But I could be wrong. Greenway said, by the time it's set in stone, I do think we have a legit shot at hosting. Oh, yeah, for sure. And Will said, you guys are definitely in now. I agree. We have to beat Vanderbilt, but I agree. So Audrey just sent us a thing that said, as of the week of the Georgia game, passing yards lost to drop passes. Nico Iamaleava is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. FBS, in FBS, he's 8th, 246 yards of passing lost to drop passes. The highest one is 289 yards. So that tells you a lot right there. Carson Beck is 2 yards behind Nico. Let's see. She also sent us, and I was going to mention this. I told her we give her credit. She sent this to us yesterday. Only one SEC team in conference history, in SEC history, has had 4 games in the same season with 50-plus points scored while allowing 10 points or fewer. One team has done that. That would be your Tennessee Volunteers of 2024. First team in SEC history. Not too shabby. Robert said, do you think we lose any receivers to the transfer portal? Yes, Nathan Leacock. I'll be very surprised if he hangs around.
It's going to be interesting. Somebody will be gone. It might be Leacock. It might be Caleb Webb. We'll lose probably 2 of these receivers, maybe 3. So it'll be interesting to see who's next in line and who ends up hitting the portal.
So once again, we're going to show this on the screen here. To the 583 people joining us across all 3 platforms, we appreciate you. Welcome. Well, we already know, buddy. Trust me, Vol Twitter's already burning to the ground about David Sanders, and he hadn't even said anything publicly. We'll see what ends up happening. Tony said Nico also missed at least a dozen wide open receivers. Yep, absolutely. It's definitely been a problem on both sides of that pass there. But once again, I am fully aware that the AP poll is not what the college football playoff poll or rankings are based off of. I get that. I totally understand that. However, it's not Tuesday yet, so we don't have the playoff rankings. In addition, no one, absolutely no one could convince me that the people on the playoff committee do not at least look at the AP poll. I mean, it comes out on Sunday. They don't release theirs till Tuesday night. No one can convince me that they don't at least take a peek at the AP poll between Sunday and Tuesday. So surely this is in the back of their mind. Surely. I'll go back to those comments here in a minute. Let's see. So if this were to happen today, the college football playoff rankings, we're based off the AP poll today. Here's what it would look like. Just like it's always been, Oregon's going to be the number 1 seed as the Big Ten champion. Almost said Pac-12. That's what it should be. Texas, well, if everything plays out the way it's currently ranked, would be the SEC champion. They'd be the 2nd seeded team. Miami, who has now jumped up to 8, if they were the ACC champion, would be the 3 seed. So they go from number 8 to number 3. And Boise State would jump from number 11 all the way up to number 4, because they would also be a conference champion who was the highest ranked one out of the group of 6 conferences. Now you're immediately thinking, well, where's the Big 12 champion? Well, if everything shakes out, number 14 would be Arizona State would be the Big 12 champion. They got a big game this weekend with Arizona. So they would be the 12th seed. And here's how the rest of it would shake out. Ohio State would host Arizona State. Talk about a nice path for Ohio State. They got Arizona State at home, then play Boise on a neutral site. And then you're in the semifinals. So that's a pretty good path for Ohio State. Georgia would host Tennessee, so there'd be a rematch in Athens. That's not exciting. The winner of that would then have to play Oregon on a neutral site. Honestly, I'd rather play Oregon than Georgia again, personally.
The only problem with this is assuming that the committee truly does not pay attention to the conference championship games. Because if the committee pays attention to the conference championship games and Texas beats Georgia, there's no way Georgia stays in front of us.
Agreed.
If Oregon beats Ohio State badly, I'm not sure they stay in front of us. So it's very possible that we may not be sitting on the 9 line. We may be sitting on the 7 line.
I like what Audrey said. When I put this up there, Audrey just said, no. I reject that option. Mina Lackey shared equally as enthusiastic sentiments. Let's see here. Penn State would host Indiana, the winner getting Miami, and Notre Dame would host SMU, the winner getting Texas.
Now, if we were sitting on the 7 line, we would probably get to host SMU because they would still probably be 10.
Well, so here's why I said that earlier about the ACC. Listen, if the playoff rankings on Tuesday are anything like this poll, right now Indiana is the last team in. Clemson is the first team out.
Mm-hmm.
We know now that the ACC championship is going to be Miami and SMU. Like, that's who it's going to be. Okay. They're at 8 and 9. Clemson's sitting there at 12. It would not shock me at all. You were talking about, they said they're not going to penalize people for being in the conference championships. Well, we're going to find that out in the ACC.
It also may not be Clemson sitting there at 12 because I got to play South Carolina this Saturday.
That's very true. Very true. I think South Carolina's going to beat them personally. But let's say they beat South Carolina. They don't have to play in their conference championship game. Is it possible that the loser of the conference championship game drops lower than Clemson, and Clemson slides into the playoff in that 11 seed, and the loser of Miami and SMU is out?
So if that happened and we were on
possible.
if that happened and we were on the 7 line, then we'd be hosting Indiana, and the winner would be at playing Texas.
Correct. And now the Texas game would be on a neutral site.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why I think it is still very possible that we could end up, based on what we're looking at on the screen right now, if the college football playoff rankings are anywhere similar to this, which I actually think they probably will be, that Notre Dame as ranked number 5 currently is the 7 seed there. That is a very precariously perched ranking, because Notre Dame has to play USC this weekend. Notre Dame USC is always a good game. Always. Don't be shocked if USC beats Notre Dame this weekend. And if that happens, Notre Dame is not going to be in the playoff. They're just not, because they'll have a bad loss against a mediocre USC team and a really bad loss against Northern Illinois. And so that whole scenario right there could knock Notre Dame out. And then if, let's say Georgia moves up to 5, we move up to 6. Well, then, like you said, if Texas beats Georgia in the SEC championship, they will not remain ranked ahead of Tennessee. It won't happen. They'll have 3 losses. They're not recent. Listen, we know there's one thing we can say confidently about the College Football Playoff Committee. There's a lot of stuff that we could say and people have no clue about what they do, but there's one thing that everybody can agree is very, very influential to the playoff committee: recency bias. They are creatures of the moment. And especially if Texas beats Georgia like by more than 10 points, Georgia will not remain ranked ahead of Tennessee. And if that happens, all of a sudden Tennessee's hosting a playoff game. So that is why it is still very possible that Tennessee will host a playoff game. All they have to do to be in the playoff is beat Vanderbilt. We got to beat Vanderbilt. We can't have a repeat of 2016. We got to beat Vanderbilt when it matters. If we do that, we're in the playoff. Let's see. We'll finish up with the comments here, and then we'll look at this week's games. Green Wave says he wished we could have rotated wide receivers more this year. Rebel G said Alabama losing to Oklahoma is bigger upset than their loss to Vandy. Not one touchdown, but his Vols win over them not as big in committee's eyes now. That's a fair question. Since it's Alabama, they're the darling of the playoff committee, so I think it's still a good win. Let's see. Robert Duncan said David Sanders still has social media Vols on social media. Yeah, I mean, he's still committed to Tennessee right now. Let's see. Eric asked if we heard about Big Vol. We did. We mentioned Big Vol Daddy at the beginning of the show. Certainly, send all of our condolences to his family and friends. The OG Tennessee YouTuber. Let's see. Kevin said in the current scenario, Tennessee winning out in the top 12 looking like what was on the screen there. Who does Tennessee struggle with the most? Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon? What do you think? Georgia. Unfortunately. Yeah. Because it would be at Athens again. If that were to hold true, if the AP poll is representative of what we see on Tuesday night from the College Football Playoff Committee. To the 673 people watching right now, y'all are awesome. Thank you so much. Across all 3 platforms, we got a total of that many folks. That's pretty good. That's incredible. Let's see. Rhonda said, who do you see for the big upset this next weekend? So I'm going to give Rustin credit because I thought about this last night. As I'm sitting there watching just the anarchy unfold in college football last night, I thought about Rustin and I was like, you know what? Kudos to him. Last Sunday, he said every year there's one Saturday where all these upsets happen and college football kind of gets turned on its head for a week. He's like, we hadn't had that yet this year. It could be this Saturday. And it happened. It was this Saturday. We'll talk about this upcoming Saturday here in just a second. Will said that Ohio State's going to squash Michigan this weekend. JL said, I don't think we'll be rematched with Georgia. They'll mix it up. So I would say, well, I mean, it doesn't really pan out that way, but JL's 100% correct. I invite you to consider the years where Georgia and Alabama were both in the playoff. They never played each other in the first round of the playoffs, ever. All those years they were in the playoff together. Listen, there's a 50-50 shot they're going to play each other in the first round, and they never did. The playoff committee strategically ranked them to where they would not play each other in the first round. I think JL's on to something there, because when you look at what we see on the screen, Tennessee, Georgia in the first round is an SEC matchup. Indiana, Penn State's a Big Ten versus Big Ten matchup. They're not going to keep them like that. They're going to move one of them to where they have to play the other person. So I think JL's exactly right. Green Wave said we'd struggle the most with Ohio State. Well, that would be if we got to the semifinal. First, we have to beat Georgia. Then we'd have to beat Oregon. SEC football said Notre Dame should not be in here. They lost to Northern Illinois. Absolutely. I totally agree. Green Wave said Notre Dame has a lot of money, though. That's true. Audrey thinks Clemson's going down this weekend to South Carolina, sounds like there. Rhonda said, with Notre Dame not in a conference, should have some repercussions. So it does. They will never, ever be given a first round bye, ever, because they won't be a conference champion. So the highest possible ranking, even if Notre Dame is number 1 in the country in the college football playoff ranking, the highest possible seed they could ever get in the playoff is the 5 seed. That was their consequences for not being in a conference. So the highest they could ever get is the 5 seed. Even if they're the top ranked team in the country, they're going to get in a conference pretty soon, I bet. Kyle, welcome, buddy. He said Penn State, Miami, and Indiana don't belong. I mean, I 100% agree with Penn State. They do not belong in that playoff. They just don't. Let's see. Andrew said the 5th seed is the best place to be, playing the 12 and getting the worst, typically lower ranked team with a bye. Yeah, you're exactly right. 100%. Jeff said he'd love to meet up with Georgia again, just not in Athens. Amen, brother. Totally agree. Totally agree. Kyle said Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. Enough said. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Let's see. Rhonda said she'd also love to play Georgia again. Greenwave said plenty of things still to happen. Listen, what if Georgia Tech beats Georgia this weekend? Woo! You want to talk about some chaos? Let's see here. Because Georgia's in the SEC championship game. That's happening. They have clinched a spot. So what if Georgia Tech beats them and then Georgia wins the SEC championship? Interesting. Let's see. Hey, Greg said hit like and subscribe. I think that's a great idea. Well said, Greg. Well said. Audrey said Oklahoma now has a winning record. That's true. So that's good for us. Mr. Jones said the AD of Michigan leading the committee definitely infuses some Big Ten bias, and cheating is on his resume.
And it's still happening. If any of you didn't notice, last week, Bryce Underwood, the number 1 recruit in the class of 25, also number 1 quarterback in the class of 25, flipped from LSU to Michigan. What you may not have known was 3 weeks ago, his high school hired Connor Stallions mid-season to be a new assistant coach.
Nothing shady there. Nothing shady there. John said Big Vol Daddy's daughter has a GoFundMe set up. He did not have insurance nor money for burial. So if people can go find Big Vol Daddy's social media accounts, I'm sure you can find that info there. Probably on his YouTube channel as well. So I'd encourage anybody to look that up for sure. SEC Football said, best show on YouTube for Tennessee Athletics. Hey, we appreciate that very much. You're very kind. Thank you. Brennan, appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. He said, agree with SEC Football. Rebel G said, so many are expecting a close game next week, but I think the Vols really played and impressed the committee and destroy Vandy. Well, they need to. They need style points because that's also going to help them get to host a playoff game. So they need to win big. Bottom line, though, they just got to win. Like, that's the bottom line. Will said he loves the show. He's not even a Vols fan. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's see. This Kentucky fan said he said we're gonna have lots of teams in that shouldn't be in the playoff. Penn State actually is I'm gonna stand on that hill forever. Like, they should not be in the playoff. I mean, Notre Dame really shouldn't either, but they took care of business this weekend. Rhonda said, no matter who we play in the playoffs, we have to be the complete. Yeah, we have to play a complete game. No doubt about it. Have to. 100%. Austin said the top half of the bracket looks way worse than the bottom. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Ohio State, Tennessee, Georgia, all in the top half with Oregon. Totally agree, man. Hey, Will, we appreciate you, man. He said, I'm rooting for the Vols this year for the first time because of this show. You're the man, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we just hit 700. Now we're at 701 people watching across all three platforms. We appreciate you very much. Thank you. Kyle said Miami's defense is weak as water. An SEC school will crush them. Mr. Jones said, imagine how bad the Big Ten would have been had they not added Oregon. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. Since we want to let teams in that didn't play anybody, just ditch conference championship games and go to a 2014 playoff. I think they should just take 16 teams, the best 16 teams, and say, here you go. Here's the playoff. That's just my personal opinion. That way you don't have like teams that are 14th jumping up all the way to 12 or teams that are 11 jumping all the way to 4 in the seedings and stuff like that, which is what would happen right now, actually. Rhonda said, oh my goodness, Evan, a chill just came over me if Georgia gets beat by Georgia Tech. Robert just hit the nail on the head. Robert, this is the best comment of the whole night right here. He said, this season is the reason why the SEC will not go to a 9-game schedule. You are 100% correct, Robert. Could not have said it better myself, man. You are 100% correct. Audrey said, Will Ewers being injured hurt Texas in the playoffs? I kept a 0-loss FSU team out last year because of an injured QB. Good question. We're about to find out this week.
Depends on what Arch Manning looks like.
Yep. We're going to find out this week. Will said Michigan is always cheating. Mina Leggy said, oh, yikes, when you said that about Connor Stallions.
Yeah, I wanted to get the exact date because this is priceless. So Connor Stallions was the interim head coach at Mumford High School and got fired. And 1 week before the playoffs start, Belleville High School, which is Bryce Underwood's high school, hires him. And I love the head coach's comment. He said, I called a coach I know and asked him if he knew of any reliable help that could assist us during the playoffs, and he recommended Connor. So they hired Connor Stallions to join them for the playoffs to coach Bryce Underwood. But here's where it gets crazier. They then demoted their offensive coordinator and named Connor Stallions their play caller.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks later, he flips from LSU to Michigan.
It's funny how that works out. The wise man said team speed on defense is why we dominate the postseason year in and year out. They always beef up these Big Ten teams that have not learned to invest in speedy defense. They are big but slow. That's a fair point. Mr. Jones said win the natty for Big Vol Daddy. That's a good one right there. I like that. Kevin said how hurt is Pavia? I'm not sure because I'm not as familiar with Vandy's reporting of injuries as I am with Tennessee's.
He definitely something happened. He definitely he was not 100% in the second half. And I think that's going to be a really important phase to this Saturday. 8 out of 11 now. It's been 11 games and 8 quarterbacks have not survived against Tennessee.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. You're right. Jeff said, enjoy you guys, respect your acumen. I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you so much. Eric said Indiana shouldn't be in the playoffs either. They lost to the only top ranked team they have played all season. But Ward Manuel will get them in, guarantee it. Yeah, probably so. Sports Banner said ditch conference titles, have a 16-team playoff. Amen, brother. Amen. Just take the best 16 teams. That's all you got to do. Absolutely. Let's see. He said, if you do that, you got to reward the top 8 with a bye. That's fair. Sure. Let's do it. Just take the best 16. That's all I care about. Kyle said this year, just take the best 12. Amen, brother. Totally agree. I totally agree. Absolutely. Green Wave said, yeah, we don't need 9-game SEC schedule and half the top 25 is SEC. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Sports Manager said he thinks he'll be all right with Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Let's see. Green Wave said Connor Stallion's heading these pyramid schemes. Oh, that's amazing. David said, I think instead of cupcake games, they should just schedule other Power 4 teams. No, thank you. Because
that's what Florida did this year.
Yeah. As we've seen, all the playoff committee cares about is wins and losses. That's it. And style points. So you get style points on those other 4 teams, the filler cupcake games, and you get guaranteed wins in those cupcake games. So, and those cupcake teams, their entire athletic department is dependent upon the money and the revenue from those games. So if we ever stop scheduling FBS schools, a bunch of them, their athletic departments, a lot of sports in their athletic departments would fold because they wouldn't be able to support them financially. So that's why those cupcake games are actually really important, not just for the teams that are getting the wins, but also for the athletic budgets of those other schools. Let's see. Jared said he wants to see Boo on offense as well. Audrey said Pavia was hurt 2 or 3 weeks ago, hadn't been 100% since then.
Yeah, something, he either re-aggravated something or he got dinged up somewhere in the second half. I can't remember. I think it was midway through the third quarter. He took a shot and he was not the same after it. He definitely had some issues.
Jeff said, any idea when the committee members can be reworked, contracts, etc.? They need a retired head coach to head it up. ADs are too much like politicians. I agree. There needs to not be a single sitting athletic director on that committee.
Or here's a crazy idea. Pick 4 people who don't work for any university, pay them a full-time salary, and make it their job.
Yeah. Unfortunately, wow. I don't know the answer to your question, Jeff. I'm not sure when their contracts are up, but yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. To the 719 people watching right now, 720, we really do appreciate you so much. I apologize that I wasn't able to get to all the comments tonight. I do have to call it an evening right now, though.
Audrey just accepted the position.
Audrey's one of my favorite people. Hey, there you go. We got one right now, right there.
So read Greg's comment right above that.
Greg said, you still think no problem filling Vandy Stadium with all fans this Saturday?
For those of you who haven't seen it, some very clever Tennessee fan has been putting up checker Vandy signs all over the Vanderbilt campus for the last 24 hours with seating assignments and what color you should wear, orange or white.
Yep. Yeah, he posted last. I think he's keeping count. Last I saw, he was up to 16 signs across their campus. I don't know if he's got more than that now or not, but he was keeping count earlier today. But I do apologize that I wasn't able to get to all those comments. Try to get to every single one of them. If I had more time tonight, I would. But I do want to let everybody know. So obviously, Rustin and I won't be live this Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. So we're going to do a live show Friday night. I think that's our tentative plan right now. So we hope you join us Friday night. I did just remember that I have to show this real quick.
How much am I winning by?
So the current standings in the Vol Bros College Football Pick'em Challenge, Rustin is 3 games ahead right now.
Man, it was a rough week for everybody.
Yeah, the best record, only 3 people won 7 games. That was the best records in the whole week. So Rustin has a 3-game lead going into the final week. Honestly, that's going to be kind of pretty tough to overcome. So
I knew I went 5-5, so I figured I dropped a game or 2. I didn't expect to still have a 3-game lead.
Yeah, so Crazy Obsessed Vol Girl was, right behind you in sole place and second, but now some other folks have caught her. So now there's 4-way tie at second place. My friend Doug is that Georgia boy right there. He's up there now. And so Very, very close, very close. But it is going to be tough to overcome a 3-game deficit in 1 week, unless Ruston just implodes this week.
I will be going with Vegas in every game this week.
Yeah. Yeah. So here are this week's games. And I do want to say this. Two of our games this week, are on Friday night this week. And so because there are 2 Friday games, picks are due by Thanksgiving. So I would recommend getting your picks in by Wednesday night. That's what I would recommend. Here are this week's games. Oregon. Now remember, we pick games that are nationally significant. Okay. Nationally significant. Oregon State at Boise State is a very nationally significant game because Oregon State beat Washington State this week.
They're the Pac-2 champ.
They sure are. They sure are. And so Boise barely snuck by Wyoming this week. I think it was 17-13 as the final score in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Wyoming was 2-8 coming into the game. They're having a rough season. So this could be not a good day for Boise State. So that's a Friday game. Georgia Tech, Georgia is also a Friday game. And then Notre Dame, USC, Arizona State, Arizona. That's a huge game for Arizona State. That is a huge, huge game. Kansas State at Iowa State. Iowa State is still in contention for the Big 12 championship game. So that is a big game right there. Michigan and Ohio State, obviously always a big game. Tennessee at Vanderbilt, clearly a big game. Clearly. South Carolina at Clemson. Major playoff ramifications, especially for Clemson in that game. Auburn and Alabama. I put that on there, first of all, just because it's a major rivalry. But knowing the playoff committee, Alabama could still sneak in because they're at 13 right now. And then Texas at Texas A&M, obviously huge implications for not only the SEC championship game, but for the playoff as well. We appreciate everybody wishing us happy Thanksgiving in the comments. We wish you all happy Thanksgiving as well. Like I said, I wish I had more time to go through all the comments, but we do appreciate everybody. We hope you join us on Friday night for a Vanderbilt preview. And next Sunday, we'll have Reed Carringer joining us next Sunday night. So we're super excited to have Reed with us. We hope all of you have a wonderful evening. Go Vols. Happy Thanksgiving. And we will see you all Friday.